Čau lidi, v tomhle videu jsem vám přeložil video od pro playera Javena, který natočil jak fightí v Rankedech a vysvětlil své movy, budu rád za like.
So let's break down these fights. The first fight I took was in Creaky Compound, and I was trying out this new shotgun. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it very much. I know it can do a lot of damage to the head, but it does like no damage to builds, so I definitely prefer a pump. Just an FYI, the fights throughout this video are gonna get better and better. I was getting warmed up, and I almost died right here. This guy was just in my cone. That was kind of weird, but we survived, barely. I'm really weak here, and there's another player. It's important in these situations to not just panic and back down right away. Instead, I held my ground, tried to do some counter damage from behind a really safe right hand peek. Once I did that counter damage, then I was able to disengage out of here and get healthy again. I pushed up to this player here and notice how I'm starting my fight. I usually like to start kind of passive, really blocking my angles and looking for them to slip up. Like I tried to take a shot over my floor, but he wasn't peeking. I mantle up and I see the zipline could break him out, so I go for that play. I completely whiffed with this new shotgun. I'm not gonna lie, I was just choking with this bad boy. I see an opportunity to phase in right here. I push up against my cone while breaking the floor. That way, if he's holding the floor, I'll still go through. But the reason I did this is he didn't have the wall placed in between the two boxes. So I was able to get that wall, but he sneaked out of there. Right here, I drop on his wall and he's under a ramp right up against the wall in between us. In this situation, a lot of times they edit right at you, which is why I flip my cone up and get out to the side. I drag cones to his side as well in case he edits out that direction. This little sequence that comes next is why I don't like this new shotgun. I was trying to use it to reclaim the walls that the enemy was placing. That way I could escape out the box and stuff like that. But this shotgun does like no damage to walls, so it almost cost me here. And at this point, the fight's been going on for a long time, which means we gotta worry about third parties. Sure enough, somebody else pushes up. They cleaned up the player I was just fighting, and I realized I still had the wall there. So I just surprise charge at the enemy, no hesitation. I almost get him here, but he snuck out the top. I have the health advantage though, so my goal is just get in his box. And I'm pretty much sick of this new shotgun at this point, so I just get in with my AR. I'm done. But it worked out, and now I have a sharp tooth. I couldn't find anyone else until way later in this game, and I got in a super long fight with a lot of third parties. I was popping some pizza when I got broken down, put into a 50-50, won it, but there's another player on my case right away, so I branch out. As soon as I get that slurp off and have health again, I start pushing back. And finally, I'm telling you, the fights are gonna start to get better. This guy was pressuring my wall from a diagonal, and I like to go for this little surprise attack when they're doing this. I edit from an angle that they can't see me, and I run directly under them super quick while jumping up and taking a quick shot. And as soon as I get that shot off, I grab the wall in front of him. Sadly, I couldn't get up to his lair fast enough. He claimed the wall, and I was forced to reset the fight. I get this floor weak for another surprise attack. I quickly pickaxe through it, and even if he was holding the floor, I would phase right up. I'm able to get another shot off, and now he's 1 HP, so I just spray through. I push up to this player here and he gets the double edit on me. As soon as this happens, I flip my ramp, and these players love to just spray through the ramps, which is why I just hold my pump at his head, hit him with a max pump, and then I just have to spray through. I push up to box fight this player and he's just standing against a wall on a ramp. I get the wall one shot, seeing if the player is gonna edit on me or anything. They're just chilling there. So I push up, pump the wall once, claim it, and they just start scrambling. When I see this player reposition out the right and start getting sprayed at by other players, I just spray in and get the kill. There's only 2 other players now, so I rotate ahead before the others do. That way I can hold them. This guy pushes up as well, and I start a fight. Early on in this fight, the third player sprayed a tree out on this guy, and I got a free kill. So thank you. He positions on top of me, and I couldn't tell exactly where he was, so I built up very carefully trying to see where he is. Once I claim the high ground, I still have this slurp pop, so I'm just starting my pressure right away. And I was bleeding a ton of bullets through, and turns out this guy was a free kill. So all in all, there were a lot of scuffed fights in this game, but we got the win at the end of the day, just by playing safe and patient. The fights in the next game were a lot more calculated. I was finally warmed up, and I started moving. I saw this guy looting above me, and it was just a free kill right off the bat. 1 down. This next fight started with him building up the high ground and me chopping him out. And this guy was definitely a pub player because he was just using rocket launchers, impulses, all these like crazy pub items. And he ended up running out of mats really quickly, and I just challenged him with my AR. There were 2 players box fighting here, so I just get on top of them and start pressuring. This player backed up right into my box, and I was able to get a quick shot. Once I get that big of a health advantage, of course, I'm just looking to jump in. But I had to be careful because there was still that third party. You can't tell me this player is not a goat at running. Bro just kept on slipping out in the most perfect ways ever. But eventually I caught up to this player and I was able to just get in and finish the fight. Only took me like 2 hours though. I quickly push up to the other player and notice how I start this build fight, how careful I build up. I'm just using high walls and ramps over my head to block my angles, but I'm also looking for these kind of like jump shot opportunities. I play slow, careful, and keep my eyes on the enemy the whole time looking for him to slip up. And I realized he was just looking for opportunities to rocket me. So I just kept on building up close and honestly just trying to get him to rocket himself. I would leave angles open and as soon as I hear the rocket go off, block it and hope it hits him. Eventually I got him to chop himself out. I spray this wall and I cracked him with 1 bullet, which means I have a crazy health advantage. So I just get up against his wall here and I'm pulling out my pickaxe, baiting him, trying to get him to edit. As soon as he does, I claim the wall and finish the fight. Another player pushed up really quickly. I got above him and was just looking for some peek shots from above where I take the shot and place a floor to block his shots. Once I deal some damage, he boxes up and he doesn't have a cone in his box. So I immediately look to slip a ramp in and then quickly box out his side. He went the exact direction I predicted, but he got a ramp over me, so I didn't get the kill right away. But I push up, get his wall, start pressuring him from below. He manages to slip out, just barely. He landed on like the corner of my edited floor, which was so unlucky. But it's at this point I fully outplay the player. I do an edit course and I could have double edited from above, just straight down right here. But instead I saw his wall was open, so I placed that and set up a right hand peek rather than a 50-50. And once I get that huge health advantage, I just go in with the SMG. And the next fight takes place on the island. I push up quick to this guy, let him feel the pressure right away. And notice this little strat I do. I go for the wall but don't get it, and I wait for him to edit. The second he edits, I shoot his wall, and that breaks the wall right away so that I can surprise attack him. I get little bits of chip damage dealt, but I have to reset the fight on a lower layer. I go to pressure his wall, but he immediately jumps out at me, and he's just trying to spray in. So I line up the pre-fire, take the shot, and I hit max damage. It was just the perfect play. If you're gonna try to pre-fire in a situation like that, you gotta be prepared because he might just walk through your wall, and then you're in a 50-50. So you gotta be confident with it or be ready to place a ramp just in case he gets in your box. At this point, I just start running through players. This other guy pushes up to the island and I start a build fight. You'll see in these fights, I just utilize high walls all the time. That's like my go-to in a build fight. I do this side jump and place high walls right against him. When I flip my ramp, I place high walls a layer up. He kept getting these cones over me, and look at what I do here to quickly get through this. Anytime I get coned, I pump it and then pickaxe it. That's the fastest way to get through a cone. And then once again, as soon as I got through the cone, I placed high walls above me, and now I have the wall against him. I edit a triangle and he ends up just trying to jump in, and I use that to my advantage. I pre-fire him, place a floor over my head, edit the floor, he's dead. Immediately after, another player is flying in. I look to do some quick damage but mess up. But I saw where he was landing. I placed cones above and below him right away through a window. I claimed that left and back wall because that's where he was headed, to the left. And as soon as I get that wall, I get behind my peak so he can't shoot me. From there, I just play my angles, claim the right wall when I see him running out that direction, and it was a free fight. In this next fight, I do something really important that you should know. I get a health advantage here by just spraying at the wall. He didn't have a ramp place, so the bullets just bleed through when it's a single wall. From there, I drop down, claim the wall because I had a health advantage, claim the cone, take a shot. I go for another shot, but he just sprays through into my box. And at this point, I'm a little bit weak. He could one pump me if I mess up, but he's absolute 1 HP. So this is what I do. I start spraying with my SMG, but I stop spraying before the ramp breaks. That way, if he was trying to pre-fire me, he would shoot my ramp instead of me. I wait a sec, that way it's unpredictable, and then quickly spray through to finish the fight. If I would have just spam sprayed through, I might have died there. At this point, there's only a few players left. I push up to this guy here, and this player was stuck on an awkward layer. So I just keep the pressure going from above, and eventually he just tries to spray through the wall like half these players were doing, and I pre-fire him. There was only 2 players left in the game, and there really wasn't much to these fights. Like, this first guy had a heavy shotgun, and he was just kind of charging at me like half the players have been doing. I low-key almost mess up here, but I managed to get the kill. And then I'm in a 1v1 for the win, and he just kept spam shockwaving, so eventually I caught on, went for a big pump when he shockwaved, and that caused him to die to the storm. I've been getting a lot of requests to do more videos like this, so let me know if you